Hi, you guys. I want to do your self-coaching model class this way because there's a lot of text from Brooke's book that I want to go over with you. So this is a teaching call or teaching class. It's based on the self-coaching model by Brooke Castillo. Now, here's the deal. Brooke did not come up with these concepts. What Brooke did was put it all together in an easy to read guide. So do you need this book? Nope. I'm going to include this in the content, and you will have access to it to look over. If you feel like you're someone who is really stuck in their thoughts and in their habitual way of thinking and some of the other models aren't helping you, this might help you, okay? So the basics of the self-coaching model is that circumstances, okay, can trigger thoughts. It causes feelings, which cause actions, which cause results. And here's the evidence that you will find for it always. That's the evidence that we talk about with negativity bias or looking for the evidence to prove yourself to prove your thoughts. Let's do it again. Circumstances can trigger thoughts, which cause feelings, which cause actions, which cause results. Okay? Let's go through it a little bit more. I'm going to share my screen here. How do I do that? Let's see. Photos. There we go. Share screen. I took a bunch of photos for you guys. Okay, here you go. So on here, you can see one of the things that Brooke does here is break out the theories of a lot of a variety of teachers. So she uses Byron Katie, Eckhart Tolle, Jill, I can't remember her last name. She's a doctor who had a stroke. Abraham, which is Abraham Hicks, Martha Beck, Tony Robbins, Pema Chodron. You see all those names there. Katie, Eckhart, Jill, Abraham, Martha, Tony, Pema. Here is the overview, is what each of them says on thoughts, okay? There's always a particular thought that triggers any stressful feeling. You can go back through this and read it yourself. You can go back and play this and then pause and read and see what you think. But I want you to know that she's kind of taking all this information from different people and putting it together to kind of show the theory around thoughts. Next, okay, so this is the law of attraction. She brings in the law of attraction and the Abraham stuff to kind of, again, prove how our thoughts are creating our reality and we're getting more of what we want or less of what we want. So this is why the law of attraction is so hot right now. It is the truth thinking. And then she kind of goes into it a little, call it whatever you want. The bottom line is, and then she does this little paragraph, which I'm going to read. But what my notes in here was, is it the change your thoughts or change the feelings? Because a lot of times in Abraham and law of attraction, they say change the feelings. When you think a thought, you feel a feeling. When you feel a feeling, you take action or not because of how you feel. Your actions, which are your behaviors, create your experience in the world. And ultimately, what your life looks like is your results. If your thoughts suck, your life is going to suck. If you aren't conscious of your negative thoughts, you're enslaved by them. I call this the spin cycle as depicted in the diagram on the next page. Here is the diagram. Here's the negative spin cycle. Circumstance comes in, it leads to a thought, a feeling, an action, result. And see that little part on the bottom right? It strengthens itself. That is the circumstance. That's just what keeps happening over and over. So here we go. When we don't change the thought, which is the cause, we end up back with the same spin cycle and same results over and over again, which you can see at the top. So let's move down. Instead of working against ourselves by taking action using force and garnering willpower, as shown in the diagram above, we can become conscious of the thinking that causes the unwanted results in our life. We don't need to change the direction or the result of the spin cycle. We need to consciously create an entire new pattern or cycle of thought as shown below. So look here, see that circumstance coming across, and here comes a thought. See where that negative is? Look at that, it's a choice. It can be a negative thought or a positive thought. And then it can start the spin cycle or the joy cycle where you're getting that thought, feelings, actions, results, and you're finding evidence on that cycle. Okay, so here we go. Let's look at an example. So what she breaks it into, which I've already gone over, is the circumstance, thought, feelings, action, result. That is the basis of her model, CTFAR. So here we go. Circumstance, my husband forgot my birthday. Thought, he doesn't care about me. Feelings, horrible, sad, lonely, angry. Action, give him the cold shoulder and avoid. Result, less time spent with husband, less caring with husband. So that's pretty common. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Let's move to the next one. Change, thought, sample. Circumstance, my husband forgot my birthday. Thought, I know my husband wants to help me celebrate my birthday, so I will remind him. Feeling, satisfied and loved. Action, connect with husband, love husband unconditionally. Result, enjoy my birthday with my husband. So you can see here, the circumstance is the same. The decision, the choice to have it be a negative thought and create a negative result, or a positive thought and create a positive result. Self-coaching model is based on the following truths. We cannot control the world. Nothing outside of us has the power to make us feel good or bad. It's not the circumstances, but our thoughts about the circumstances that create our experience. We attract what we think about. Emotions are vibrations that lead to action. We can't permanently change our results without changing our thoughts. We don't have to get anything to feel better. We can feel better right now. Being conscious and choosing our thoughts are the most important components to feeling better. Next, here are the terms the way I define them. Circumstances, things that happen in the world we cannot control. Thoughts, things that happen in your mind. This is where you self-coach. That's the trigger point when you have to move from negative to positive. Feelings, vibrations that happen in your body caused by thoughts, not circumstances. Another word for the feelings is the emotions or the energy in motion that's caused by the thoughts. Actions, behavior, what we do in the world caused by the feelings or the emotions determined by thought. And then the results. What we see in the world, our lives as an effect of our actions. The result will be evidence for the original thought. The result will be the evidence for the original thought. This is where that confirmation bias comes in. This is where if you think it's going to suck and be boring and not fun, and you wish you said no to going, it will be boring and not fun, and you will beat yourself up for not going. Or if you think you don't have enough time to do something, you will find all the proof and all the evidence that you don't have enough time to do something. So in the book, I'm trying to get some PDFs of this for you guys. I'm having a hard time because she took down, this book is old, so she took down a lot of the resources that used to be available online. But I'm going to try to figure out a way to get you guys some of these. So I might just post them into the content so then you have it. Self-coaching worksheet, circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result, unintentional, and then intentional. So this is where you do it side by side with the thought pattern and then the intentional, what you want to change it to. When the problem seems to be a circumstance. So one of the things that she has in here is that a different way. So there's when the problem seems to be a circumstance. Hold on. And then at the end, I'm trying to think if I added it in here. There's a section of when the problem's an action, when the problem is a thought, when the problem is a feeling, when the problem is a result. So it's like a tiny little bit different, the worksheets, through what the issue is, okay? So this is the circumstance. When there's a circumstance that is the issue that's causing the suffering, then you can bring it down. This is very much like the work. And here, in fact, you can see right here, thework.com, Byron Katie. This is her shortened version. Write down the painful thought, write down the feelings that the thought caused you, write down a slightly better feeling than you know is true, and write down the feeling that the new thought caused you to feel. Repeat as needed. Okay, so this is a huge piece. Listen, I want you to close your eyes and just listen to this teaching. If we don't play our circuitry of doom, we don't feel the negative emotion it causes. I don't know that word, circuitry of doom. That's the circle notion, but I don't know how to say it properly. If we manage what we think about and question our thoughts, we rewire our habits of thoughts. We literally change the pathways inside of our brain. But just like any habit, if your brain is running on automatic pilot, And she says, and you haven't had a stroke because one of her teachers had a stroke. You have to become aware and disciplined in witnessing your thoughts. Oh, and when she had the stroke, when she got better from the stroke, her brain was wired different. You have to become aware and disciplined in witnessing your thoughts. Instead of letting your mind run the show, instead of letting the peanut determine what you will manifest and feel, that's what she calls the teeny tiny thing that operates, take back that power and start consciously and deliberately deciding what to think. Oh, that's a big one. I want you to go back and read that. Now open your eyes and go back and read that. Just like any habit, if it's on automatic pilot, you have to become aware and disciplined in witnessing your thoughts. So there is work involved here. Remember that most thoughts that cause pain are not true. Just because a thought you are thinking feels true doesn't mean it's true. Your feelings are the effect of your thinking, not evidence that your thinking is true. Your feelings are the effect of your thinking, not the evidence. It's very interesting how evidence plays into this. It's just something I've been thinking about a lot as I've been studying the model again. Here is a little passage that you can read on your own. What if I don't want this present moment? Because you're resisting or pushing away something that might be happening in the present moment. So this is a little bit about breathing and a little bit about what strategies to use when you are in the present moment and it's not feeling awesome. Next, in this part, a thought is a thing. This is the reason I included this slide. A thought is a thing, a statement, a collection of words. It's the cause of your feelings. It's the cause of what you manifest. It's the basis for belief systems, and it's what determines your attraction. It's run by the little group of cells the size of a peanut. That's why she always talks about peanut with a capital P. That's the cell formation she's talking about. It's our job, and this is all from, if you want to hear more of the science on this, go to Dr. Joe Dispenza. This is the Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, which is all his work and a ton of his work. He's got a YouTube page and lots other. Dr. Joe Dispenza, D-I-S-P-E-N-Z-A. It's our job to use the rest of our brain to manage a little peanut, because although it is a very important piece of life, it is not management material. The little mind, the ego, the cause of what Jill calls internal self-abuse, is the cause of more misery on the planet than just about everything combined. Peanut chatter starts wars and justifies abuse. It needs supervision, and the supervision is you. And then it goes into start now by filling out the following worksheets on one negative thought and do the remaining negative thoughts. Don't stop until you feel good. So here comes finding a new thought. So this starts with, what is your current painful thought? Why are you choosing to believe it? Is there any part that's not factual? So you can, again, use these tools to go through. I'm going to find ways to get this to you. This is the next part. When you plug in the thought into the self-coaching model, what changes? So this is how you dig in and learn how to use the model, the circumstance, thought, feeling, action, result over and over. Thought problem worksheet. So this is when your thoughts are the problem. Okay. Now, one of the things that Brooke talks about, and a lot of people, again, this is a very big law of attraction piece. It's kind of me slowly giving you a lot of other evidence around law of attraction and things to try before we go fully in, but which I don't even know what that really means, going fully in, but learning more and studying and practicing together. Here's our sample feelings list. Okay. So here, this is because a lot of times you might say, how are you feeling? You might say fine, or I don't know, or we really haven't used the language around feeling in a way to do a deep dive. So I love having this kind of printed out and thinking about it. Like, what does put out feel like in your body? What does puzzled feel like in your body? Perplexed? What does regretful? What does seething? What does dejected? What are afraid, weak, shocked, secure, determined, sorry, like energetic? I just want you to think about all these different ways that we can feel and start to identify in your body so that you can practice your name it to tame it. Next, this is another quote you can read right here from the So Far As the People Who Have Dire Circumstances. The only thing of value I can say is changing your thinking may not completely or immediately remove the physical pain of hunger or abuse or neglect, but it can make it better or worse. So here is the social justice slash activist slash reality piece that I want to make sure is always in here. You can be a mom with no money or a starving child, and your thoughts about your circumstance will increase your suffering or decrease it. There's no doubt of that. If you're starving and you think thoughts of pain, your pain will be increased. If you're starving and you think thoughts of love, your feeling of love will be increased. This does not take away, this is such an important teaching with this. This does not take away from the severity of physical pain and suffering. But the truth is, the way that you think about it does either add to or decrease your suffering. Even with ample justification for thinking negative thoughts, you're still thinking negatively and creating more negative feelings. So this is why when we study happiness research, or we look around the world, or we look at these zones where there's a lot of 100-year-old people, or there's community where the money is not as, they're not as wealthy as a lot of the areas in the United States. This is how we can kind of dig a little bit deeper into some of those big questions that I know I always have when I'm studying this work on thoughts creating reality, is like, how does that work for systems of oppression, for racial injustice, for gender equality, for all of the ways that this is coming up. And so I think it just starts, you think of some of the Holocaust survivors and the work that they did with their thoughts and how they saw their life after. So again, I'm not trying to expose you guys to this to say this is the way and I want you to do it this way. I'm exposing you to this so that you can expand your awareness and possibility that there may be some things that we don't normally learn and study that could really be helpful to some of your thoughts and patterns of suffering, okay? Stop and take a deep breath. I've been talking really fast, I just noticed. How are you feeling right now? This is also how you are thinking right now. Look at that list of feelings again. Which of these feelings do you want to have in this moment? What is the feeling you're seeking? So you can look over this as you kind of dive into this work. I want you to go back through the call, take some notes on it, just like you would if this was a content, this is the content for this call. So go back through it, read through this, okay? The main difference between saying an affirmation and believing an affirmation, you can say the affirmation in hopes that someday you will believe it and feel good, or you can say an affirmation that you believe now and you will feel good. Feeling good is contagious and will attract more feeling good thoughts that will lead to feeling good actions that will lead to good results. So I just heard this quote this week that I wrote down, which was this psychotherapist named Barry Michaels talking about law of attraction. And he said, it's not, the movie The Secret and the book The Secret. He said, it's not really the secret. It's more, he said he doesn't really believe in the secret, but what he does believe is how do you participate in life? Courageous participation in life attracts the positive. So that's really what the main thing is it's not like, oh, I'm going to sit down, and Brooke talks a lot about this in the book too. I'm not going to just think good thoughts and positive thinking and hope that things happen for me. I'm going to really open up. I'm going to take some action, and that will help with the results that I'm looking for, the action piece. Here are some examples of thoughts that my clients created that they can believe to feel good. So these are just examples of some affirmations or mantras that you can start to kind of feel into, create your own. Feeling problem worksheet. Remember I showed you before the thought problem worksheet. There is no amount of action that can make up for negative thinking. So this is what I was just saying about law of attraction and action, is that if you are really if your thoughts are really negative behind the positive thought, it's going to override the negative. The negative thinking overrides the action. So there's no amount of action that can make up for negative thinking. So if you're thinking you're not going to be able to do something, but you're trying little steps to do it, and you're bringing that negative energy, that negative thinking into it, it's not going to bring you the results that you want. If you want to change your behavior, you must change the thought first in order for the change to be permanent. And so this is, I'm adding into our, stop share. I'm adding into our content some podcasts that are really interesting to listen to with Brooke Castillo and Jess Lively. Jess Lively is the LOA teacher, and Brooke is obviously Brooke. And so they come at it from different, they don't necessarily agree. And so again, I just want you to be exposed to the self-coaching model. For some of you, it will resonate. For some of you, it won't. But I want you to be aware of the circumstances, the thoughts, the feelings, the actions, and the results. And for homework, I want you to go through the model as things come up for you this week. Okay? Bye.